If you're looking for cheap tickets to go to the basketball game, I got you covered. It's just JP partnering with SeatGeek to give you the best ticket purchasing experience. Download the SeatGeek app and you'll unlock so many opportunities to go to an event you will certainly enjoy, like a basketball game. What's awesome about SeatGeek is that it gives you the best price from a lot of sellers, and it separates the good from the bad, and also shows you the viewpoint of your seat on your next outing. Yes, use that for, hold on, there's more. Use the promo code It'sJustJP to get $20 off your purchase. Your deal just got even more awesome. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app for your next event experience. What up, JP Nation? It's your boy JP. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel where we do basketball reaction videos and basketball content. So if you love the game of basketball, please subscribe down below to It's Just JP for more content for you, and click the notification bell. You know where our next upload is, on the road to 40K. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for the love and support you have given to my channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today we are reacting to BasketNews while Europeans are taking over the NBA. Giannis, Jokić, Luka, just to name a few of the European players that's just dominating in today's NBA. Started back in that movement back in the day with Toni Kukoc, Dragan Petrovic, Sarunas Masalonis. Then goes to like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, just to name a few players. So let's go ahead and get into the video, man, because I am just intrigued to see why Europeans are taking over the NBA.
When they're playing AU today, they just run up and down, no structure, and then when they get to their high school team, they're not playing well. And then now we see a lot of our guys coming into the NBA today. They can score, they can run up and down, but they can't set a screen. They're not open to the ball the right way, making a simple bounce pass.
Every NBA All-Star game from 2001 to 2018 had a maximum of 4 international All-Stars. However, last year we had 6, this year we had 9, and this number doesn't seem to stop increasing, with the ESPN projecting the next 2 first draft picks coming from Europe as well. It's the USA's way of preparing players for the highest stage to blame. If you agree, don't forget to hit that like button on this video before we jump into the details. Think about it. Who are going to be the main faces of the NBA when LeBron stops playing?
That was still a vicious dunk.
It's all about the internationals already. Giannis, Luka, Jokić, and that alien guy Wembanyama is coming in this summer. At the same time, the AAU...
How good you think Victor Wembanyama is going to be, though? So please let me know in the comments. You know, he's the #1 overall draft pick by the San Antonio Spurs, so there's a lot of pressure and expectation, saying he's the greatest prospect of all time from what ESPN and all them said. Like, how good would this kid be, man? You know, he got them skill sets, reminds you of Rap Sensor with a little KD. How good you think he will be? Please let me know in the comments. And what a nice increase. You know, we had 6 All-Stars in 2022. Now we have 9 All-Stars in 2023. And it's going to keep on going. The league is just looking so beautiful right now. It's in good hands, so...
And load management topics have been one of the hottest arguments in the basketball world. Everyone is weighing in, from Charles Barkley.
But you can't make $30, $40, $50 million and then sit out games. I think you're disrespectful to the game.
To Paul George.
We want to play. That's the thing. We want to play. It's not that we want to sit out. And so it's more so the training staff and the medical group just being mindful.
To medical professors giving their in-depth analysis on the topic. And believe it or not, all of this is heavily related to the increasing number of international players in the NBA. First of all, let's get one thing clear. Many media personalities are blaming stars who earn up to $30 to $40 million per year for sitting out games simply because they are lazy and not up to the standard of the 80s or 90s fierce guys. Ironically, sitting games out is not up for them to decide. It is the medical staff of each franchise that evaluates the best possible scenario for every player to maximize his potential over the longest period of years. So the first thing to do would be to stop blaming the players, because they don't have anything to do with the load management. Now, the reason behind the doctors keeping guys from competing, for example on the back-to-back games, is quite simple and clearly said in one of the most well-researched articles from ESPN's Baxter Holmes in 2019. The headline says, "Exposing American America's youth basketball crisis. Holmes goes on to write about how AAU basketball has become a big business in the United
Yes,
States,
it has.
with many
Yes, it
coaches
has.
seeking to profit from the dreams
Yep.
of young players and their families. Also, the AAU industry forces coaches and players to focus more on individual success than team play and development, which leads to bad habits on the court and the lack of improvement of the necessary skills
Facts.
at the higher level. Steve Kerr, before he became the head coach of the Warriors, had these words about AAU that perfectly describe the negative impact it has on youth's future. Even if today's players are incredibly gifted, they grow up in a basketball environment that can only be called counterproductive. What troubled me was how much winning is devalued here. Teams play game after game after game, sometimes winning or losing 4 times in one day. Very rarely do teams ever hold a practice. The process of growing as a team basketball player, learning how to become part of a whole, how to fit into something bigger than oneself, becomes completely lost.
And that's one of the issues we're talking about, like in terms of AAU basketball just taking over. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts on AAU, the structure that they follow. I never played AAU basketball. I know like it benefits like players too as well that's, really talented, and then they can be looked at. Sometimes it's a bad thing too as well because of the system they be playing. Because you got people coming from the AAU like playing isolation basketball. So let me know your comments. Is it good or bad that we have AAU basketball?
Now, that's one part of why we see the majority of American players coming into the NBA with very strong individual skills, yet struggling to be efficient on the court in their first seasons. Only a small percentage of players understand, for example, the right angles of screening, the ideal timing, the goal of cutting, and how to read defenders' movement off
Depends
the
on the
ball.
coach.
Do you notice how guards never lack shot making off the dribble? It's always a right pass that's late or never arrives to the teammate. They are often taking ill-advised shots rather than looking for a better option simply because they are used to playing one way and have never in their lives been pressed to care much about the consequences of bad decisions because of the way AAU is structured.
No.
Oh my goodness, Valentine!
No.
Whoa!
No.
That is not the shot
No.
at that
Wow.
moment.
Horrible shot.
The other side of the issue that Holmes mentions in this ESPN article is that AAU pushes kids to play year-round and participate in these high-intensity tournaments every weekend in order to get more exposure. We are talking about flying to other cities and playing 3 to 4 games per day on a weekend.
Yes.
Long story short, what happens is that such a rhythm increases the risk of injuries and fatigue. Many young players nowadays are reporting that they were in the best shape of their lives when they had 17 or 18 years old.
It's
They
a lot of
mentioned that
pressure.
It was the period where they jumped the highest. According to the doctors, this peak should happen way later, around 24 to 25 years old. But the year-round games of high school and then AAU have anticipated this. The end result of this cycle is that the NBA gets the young players at their athletic peak, but also with the most injuries they have ever seen. So in order to protect their joints, ligaments, and their knees, the medical staff is promoting load management for the majority of the players from the early days. Looking on the other side of the ocean, the European way of preparing players
Young
is
Sabonis.
much different. Disclaimer, this video is not trying to say one way or the other is better, it's simply to spark a conversation. Now, I've passed through the youth pyramids in Europe myself, and to be honest, the differences of how international players are prepared might be the reason they are flooding the NBA. Putting the nature freak Giannis aside, none of the international all-stars are out of this world athletes. Jokić, Luka, Markkanen, Sabonis all leaned on their basketball fundamentals to reach the all-star level. If
Facts.
AAU basketball is available from your 9th birthday, in Europe is much different. The summer tournaments don't exist until you are 14 or 15 years old.
¡Abajo, Germán! ¡Bestia!
And those are not for everyone. Only the best are selected to showcase their talents for their respective national teams in the regional championships. Until that, summers are off and boys are either spending it doing something else or sometimes working on their games individually, but they never travel the continent each weekend to play 5 or 6 games in a couple of days. Usually during the season they will have 1 or 2 games per week for their basketball schools. The funding of those schools sometimes relies on their results, thus winning is utterly important. This is where teaching the right play gets the nod over the individual skill. I'm not saying this is a better recipe, and lately more and more European coaches are focusing on individual skills, but it teaches many players how to be efficient even when they don't have the ball in their hands. Yes, this is where the on-ball skill gap between Americans and Europeans comes from, but the best players that make their way through such a system in the end have both.
It's gonna be fun.
Early deals coming out, huh?
It's a good one. He faked me out.
Another thing is that in Europe, if you are good enough at around 16 years of age, you start to playing for the first team against grown men. All of a sudden, you are no longer the best player on the court and have to find the slightest of ways to helping your team. This can be a humbling experience and not everyone survives it, but it also gives you an early glimpse of real basketball and all the little details that role players do. Most professional teams here practice all week and prepare careful game plans for that one game on Sunday, also giving young guys an example of how real structured basketball looks like.
Up high, there he goes again! The EuroLeague's new high flyer!
At the same time, while internationals are in physical battles with grown men, the most talented kids in the USA are showing off the same dribble moves every weekend in a mostly unorganized environment against teams that don't even practice together. Of course, there are good programs and bad programs in the AAU as well, but you get the idea behind this comparison. Playing so early against men is one of the reasons why nobody in Europe questioned Luka's future in the NBA. Dominating high school is one thing, but dominating EuroLeague at 18 years old is a totally different story. He was getting adjusted to various defensive coverages, much higher levels of physicality, and doing it against a higher level of opponents than NCAA.
And I'm so sorry to interrupt. You know, Luka did say in the comments that the scoring is so much easier in the NBA than it is in Europe. So based on, he said the rules of the European League versus the NBA. Just to want to throw it out there. Yeah, he was phenomenal at a young age.
NCAA. That's why his decision-making in his first year in the NBA did not take a hit as much as for some American rookies. I know you might say, but hey, it's Luka, he's one of a kind.
Three-pointer for the game. Beat that! Oh my God!
But the same could be also applied to those European rookies who played limited minutes. They are probably not superior athletically and can't create their own shot so easily, but they are capable of doing positive things in the periods they are allowed. You rarely catch yourself saying, man, the decision-making of this international is terrible. Combining all these reasons would be my explanation behind the boom of successful international players in today's NBA. Let me know if you agree. Subscribe to our channel.
You know, great video by BasketNews, bringing up good points, bringing up the differences in terms of AU basketball versus what the European League does with young players. You know, AAU, like I said, you know, it could be good, it could be a bad thing. It does show a lot of isolation, in my opinion, in terms of, it depends on the team, though. It depends on the player. You're very rarely you're going to have a player that's going to play the right way, but it's most likely showcasing your skills, whether you're shooting or whether you dribbling the basketball and doing all these ball handling moves and all that. They're watching like people like Kyrie and Steph Curry, you know, with the handles and also running back and hitting the three-point shot. And then if you're really athletic, dunking matters too as well. They watch the dunkers. So it just showcases like your individual skill set. Like I said, you know, there's other AU teams out there that plays the right way, that does things the right way. And yeah, it gives exposure for, you know, a player that's really good for that team, and also it's a business mindset too as well, for the coaches to be able to profit off the player that they have. While you go to the EuroLeague and you see a young player at 14, 15 years old playing against grown men, going out there and just, you know, practicing with them and also playing in the game and all that. And they play the right way over there too as well. They don't really play much games like you see in America where they play year-round, high school and AU. So they play the right way. You can see, like, you know, a couple clips and everything, and, you know, they play so much different right there in the countries and all. So whenever they come into the NBA, you know, people like that going to say like, oh yeah, the scoring is much easier because of the war difference and all that they had to go through in your league. So I thought it was a good video, and you know, there's going to be more Europeans coming into the league. went to Victor Wembanyama. We're going to see how good he's going to really be. And also you got some others that's coming too as well, and Africa, it could be from Africa too. So it's going to be really interesting. How the league is going to evolve, the next like 5 to 10 years. So definitely comment down below and tell me your thoughts on the video, and if AU's good or bad. Thoughts on Victor Wembanyama. Just let me know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to It's Just JP if you're a new subscriber, and click that notification bell. You know where our next upload is. Let's get to 40K, everybody. Make sure you like this video, support the movement and everything. I'm JP, and we out of here. Peace.